Hi, it's Alyssa Webb, Montana real estate mom in Billings, Montana. Today, I'm going to chat with you about how to buy a home. Everything that it takes to get prepared to buy a home, from credit score, debt to income ratio, how much can you afford, all the way through the process to closing day. So let's get to it. Okay, you're ready to buy a home? Let's go house hunting. Just kidding. That is not the first place to start. I always tell my clients the most important thing that you can do first to get ready to buy a house is to chat with a lender. Whether this is a local bank, a national bank, a mortgage broker, that's totally up to you, the buyer. But this is a great place to start because that lender is going to look at your credit score. They're going to determine your debt to income ratio, and they are going to know what your buying power is. How much home can you afford? So let's chat a little bit about debt to income ratio. So they're going to calculate basically how much money you take in per month and what your monthly payments are. So say your monthly debts, for instance, credit cards, car payments totals $2,000. And you take home $6,000 a month. Your debt to income ratio is 33%. Now, each loan program has different guidelines, different maximum debt to income ratios. Guidelines are always changing, so ask your lender for your specific loan program what the max debt to income ratio is, and they'll talk to you about that. So credit score, I've seen credit score requirements change over the years being in real estate. So right now, some programs can work with a 620 credit score, and I've seen other programs you have to have 640 or higher. They are going to ask for your most recent proof of income, like pay stubs, usually a couple months worths, maybe your bank statements, your last few years of tax returns. If you're self-employed, that is definitely something we can talk about in another video. It may be a little bit more challenging to qualify with self-employment income. Usually you have to be on the job for 2 years. A great lender is going to be able to look at your income, your debt to income ratio, and your credit score and tell you whether or not you qualify for a loan. And if you don't qualify, they'll tell you exactly what you need to do, what you need to pay off or pay down, and then they'll get you ready to qualify. Being pre-qualified with a lender is super important because that means you're ready to go out and look for a house, and that step is already finished. You won't have to do it after the fact. So if you're looking at homes and you're standing in a home that you think is absolutely perfect, your dream home, you don't have to do all the bank steps. It's already done, taken care of, and you can just focus on securing that home. So, do you need money in the bank to buy a home? While it is possible to buy a home with no money down, I will not say that buying a home requires no money, because there are parts of the process where you do need money, such as inspection, appraisal, potentially closing costs. But let's start with the most important part that I hear people ask all the time is down payment. So there are zero down programs, but you have to qualify for them. So VA loans are available to our veterans, our military. Thank you so much for your service. Those are zero down. We have first-time homebuyer programs that are zero down, and they usually have income guidelines, as well as we talked about credit score guidelines. And then usually FHA is 3.5%. Conventional loans anywhere from 3 to 5%, and you can put 20% down. There's a common misperception that every loan requires 20% down, and it's not true. But what 20% down does is it's more of a down payment to the lender, which reduces their risk. So it takes away the mortgage insurance, which sometimes is a big part of the monthly payment that people are trying to get rid of. But VA loans, there is no mortgage insurance on the VA loans. So if you have questions about what loan programs you qualify for, what is the best program for you, obviously ask your lender. They are going to be the ones that can help you navigate that. Now, closing costs. Closing costs are prorated taxes, fees charged by the lender, by the title company, and it all gets balanced out at closing. So in some markets, sellers can help assist with the buyer's closing costs. However, right now we're in a seller's market, meaning that inventory is low and there's more buyers than there's homes available. And in my last video, we talked about the competitive seller's market and how your offer can stand out. Well, I would recommend in having a better offer, not asking the seller for closing costs. So having that money in the bank, paying your own closing costs, I think that will make you stand out in a competitive multiple offer situation. Okay, so you got all the financing, lending part squared away, you're pre-approved for a loan. That is awesome. You are ready to go house hunting. However, you need to find the right realtor. I think you should interview as many or as little realtors as you want to find the right one for you. You want someone who's going to go to bat for you and who is going to negotiate for you and have your best interests at heart. There is nothing wrong with interviewing a few realtors and seeing who you best vibe with. All right, so you found the right realtor. Now it's time to actually go house hunting. And that is where your realtor comes in. This is my favorite part. This is why I do what I do. It's so much fun to go house hunting. It's a little different from HGTV, okay? You are probably gonna see more than 3 houses. But it's okay to love the first house you see. Sometimes when you know, you know. All right, writing an offer. So you've been house hunting, you found the perfect house, and you're ready to make an offer on it. That is where your realtor comes in. So your realtor is going to go to bat for you. They're going to negotiate for you. If you're able to get some of those closing costs assisted from the seller, that is awesome. However, keep in mind, we talked a little bit about closing costs. In my market, they're around 3%. If you are not in my market, make sure to ask your realtor about how much closing costs you can expect to pay for. Another good thing to know when it comes to writing an offer, you may have heard this term, you may have not, but earnest money. It is a good faith deposit to the seller just saying, hey, I am ready and willing to buy this house and I'm going to see it through to the end. So the earnest money gets deposited with the title company. It's held in the escrow account through the entire transaction, and it does get applied towards the purchase price. And the earnest money is also refundable. So if you have any contingencies such as inspection, appraisal, or home sale, and if any of those contingencies go crazy and you got to terminate, you can get that earnest money back. So earnest money, I have seen it as low as $100. I've also seen it 1% of the purchase price. So it can vary. It's totally up to you what you want to do. When I'm assisting my clients in writing offers, I go through everything thoroughly from beginning to end. I stop at every page and I always ask if my client has any questions. It's super important that you understand what you're signing. And if you don't understand and if your agent doesn't know, then definitely consult some legal advice like an attorney to get any kind of clarification you need. Because after all, an offer, once it is signed by both parties, is a legal document. So you found the home, you wrote an offer, what's next? Home inspection. So home inspection is completely optional. However, I highly recommend it. You can make your offer contingent on home inspection, meaning if you don't like the results, then you can terminate and get your earnest money back. So there are a lot of different types of inspections you can do. There is like the general home inspection that a home inspector will perform, looking over the house completely on the inside and outside. However, they can add on radon testing. Some can check sewer lines. Some of them can check moisture levels, termites. There's so many different things that you can check out, but ask your inspector what it is that they offer or what you can add to the general inspection. So once the inspection's complete, the inspector is going to provide you and your agent with a inspection report. And then you're going to chat about the things that you're not too happy with that you want the seller to repair or replace. And all of that goes into an inspection notice and it's presented to the seller. And then the seller can sign it and totally agree to everything, or they can respond with the seller's response of the items that they are willing to do. How much does a home inspection cost? cost. I've seen them start around $400, even some basic ones, $600. I've seen them even more. Maybe that inspector offers moisture, but I've even seen one over $1,000. But it just depends on what you're getting done in the inspection. Like I said, ask your inspector what it is that they do. So definitely budget for that, because it is out of your pocket, out of the buyer's pocket, and it's not refundable. So you can't get the money back if you don't like the results of the inspection. So anticipate that as a cost for funds that you need to set aside. So home inspector is totally chosen by you, the buyer. Maybe your agent knows of some really great inspectors. Maybe they've worked with some that they know and trust and like really well. So you can always ask your agent for recommendations. However, keep in mind, it's totally up to you who you want to choose. Most of the time, home inspection items have to be completed by closing. And in Montana, in our inspection notice, the date is right in there of when it needs to be completed. However, sometimes with weather, like hello, our winters, they're crazy. Some things can't get done. Like if there's any stuff that you negotiated for the exterior to be done, the roof, well, it has to be a certain temperature outside. So sometimes funds can be held in escrow with the title company for work to be completed after closing when weather permits. The next thing is going to be home appraisal. So usually this is happening like simultaneously, but sometimes the buyer would like to wait until everything's negotiated with home inspection, just in case they choose to move on from that house. So appraisal, it's really, really important, especially if you're doing financing. The lender is going to order an appraisal, and what that means is an appraiser goes out to the property, checks out the house, and compares it to recently sold homes, usually in the last 6 months. And they're going to come up with a value for the house. And the reason that this is so important is because the bank or the mortgage broker, they do not want to lend more money than the home is worth. So usually an offer is contingent on appraisal. And I do go into that in another video I have, inspection versus appraisal. So you can check that one out if you have any questions about it. So who pays for appraisal? Well, you need to ask your lender. Sometimes the buyer pays for this out of pocket upfront. Sometimes it can be paid at closing. Inspection's done, appraisal's done, you are getting ready to close. However, your lender might reach out to you before closing asking for some additional documents. I've seen this before. It's very common for the lender's underwriting team to just wrap things up. Please respond to your lender in a timely manner and get anything that they're requesting of you to them as soon as possible. It keeps everything running smoothly. Usually the night before closing, you have a final walkthrough. This is with your agent. It's to check all those inspection items that you negotiated were done and to make sure that nothing's wrong with the house. And so you just want to check everything in the house, make sure there's no holes in the wall that you didn't see when you first went through. I usually recommend that this is the night before closing. Please don't skip the final walkthrough. You do not want any surprises. I'm not kidding you. This one time I saw on a Facebook post that someone had like painted scriptures all over the house that weren't there when the buyer was looking at the house. Not that there's anything wrong with scriptures. I'm not saying that. But whoa, that's a lot of painting that wasn't there before. So make sure you schedule that final walkthrough. Oh, happy day. It is the closing day. So the very last part of how to buy a home is closing day. Here in Montana, we do this at the title company. I know in some states it is handled at an attorney's office. Whatever it is, wherever you are, it is where you're going to sign all your legal documents to transfer ownership from the seller to you. This is where everything happens. You become a homeowner. Congratulations. I get calls and emails every week from folks looking to move to or even sell in Billings, Montana. So if you're one of them and you have any questions, you can contact me at this information right here. It is my absolute joy in life to help people in achieving their real estate goals. And so please don't be afraid to contact me if there's any questions that I can answer for you. I can even provide to you my free home buyers or home sellers guide. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can stay tuned for next time for everything real estate.